They all say anybody that learned it from Honolulu learned it from Lippy. They didn't say they learned it from the mayor. They didn't say he learned it from Lucky Lock. We all thought Lucky Lock was the one that taught them, but no. Anybody you talk to from outside, they say, oh, you know Lippy Espinda? He had a legacy of using the Shaka sign.
He had a knack for selling cars. He always used to say, your car is guaranteed as far as you can see me waving. And the guarantee ends. He could sell a car to anybody.
He started using it in 1970 in his print ads in the newspaper. Sometimes it was SHA-KA, sometimes it was SHAKKAH, and sometimes it was just what we use today, SHAKA.
I think in the beginning, he would when he, other customers coming, he's waving goodbye, and so he's waving like this, and then especially when nobody's in the service station, he would actually go out in the middle of the street and shaka like that, and try to get people to come in to fill up gas. He was a character,
He had a funny and great commercials. He was a used car salesman. So he pushed this station wagon. He said, oh, you guys, you just gotta buy this car, it's a bugger big, and he opened the back up, and he said, you can fit 10 bag ganduri beans in this back right over here. And of course, he did the shaka at the end,
He promoted the Shaka from as far back as I can remember, and that became his signature, and it went from there. Me not knowing that he was the inventor at that time.
I went through all this. I don't have a Shaka sign to show you.
So why do you think you don't have a picture of a Shaka sign?
Beats me.
In 1970, KHON hired him to have a matinee show on Saturday afternoons from 3:30 to 5:30. And he would show a movie, and at the commercial breaks would talk to people, and he used pidgin because he wanted them to watch the commercials and not go to the bathroom. And so he developed Shaka and pidgin. His goal was to sell more cars.
Lippy Espinda used that, but not with this sign. He used to do them this way.
When did you see him do that? On the TV? Or?
Yeah. His commercials, he said, it's like your car is guaranteed as long as I can see him. Yeah, he says, yeah, Shaka.
When he started to promote it, I think he was just overwhelmed by the amount of people that would do this. But all of a sudden, he said he wanted to do it this way. And I don't know why, but after this was all said and done, it went back to this way.
To be honest, I don't know who used the first one to use Shaka. I think it was Lippy. It's not a Hawaiian word.
So it didn't come from...
There's no S.
No S in Hawaiian?
Yeah.
So where do you think it could have come from?
It looks to me like this was being used as a gesture for a long time in the islands, and that at some point Lippy Espinda decided to attach a word to it, and that word for him was Shaka. We're not quite sure where he got that.
So the word Shaka has been around a very long time.
Right.
But people associate it with Lippy Espinda because of his newspaper advertisement. But way before that, even in the newspapers in Honolulu, I found many citations of it. The word Shaka in Japan is very common because that is the word for Buddha.
So if you ask any Japanese Buddhist who founded Buddhism, they all tell you Shaka. From medieval period on, people referred to the founder of Buddhism as Shakyamuni or Shaka, or you put the honorific O in front and the honorific Sama at the back, and so you go O Shaka-sama. If you go to Japan today, or even if you were back in the 12th century and you say O Shaka-sama, people know what you're talking about.
So but what's with the mudra? I would assume that the mudra is like a...
Because the Buddhas look alike, and there are many Buddhas, you have to be able to identify them in some way. And mudras is one way that you can identify them.
The mudra is a sign language, just like we use it for people who are deaf. Yeah. It's a language.
The first Buddha, Shakyamuni, has a gesture that was introduced to Japan very early of fear not.
Why does that mean fear not?
It's showing that you have no weapons in your hand.
Oh, okay.
You know, there's nothing to fear. I'm okay, you're okay.
I kind of surmised that the meaning, it meant like, fear not, jump away.
Surfing.
Because surfers took it around the world. And it was specifically because of like, fear not, live large. Because this assumed meaning from all of this, right?
If you grow up Buddhist, the priests tell you, this means fear not, or that means enlightenment. And so if you ever make an image of a Buddha, you would do the same thing.
What's interesting about Shaka, if you go to most Japanese Buddhist temples, you don't see a statue of Shakyamuni. You see a statue of Amida. Amida is the most popular Buddha.
The Amida Buddha has other mudras, and many of them are like this. It could be that people say Shaka, but it's the Buddha, and they might think something like this.
I think that nobody knows for sure.
Yeah.
By the 60s, it's called the Shaka. So how did that show up and why? What could be the competing theories?
Very clearly the word Shaka is Buddhist, right? It's not in Hawaiian, it's not Portuguese. But then the sign itself gets, pretty metastasized. I mean, it spreads out into many other different kind of meanings.
And that's why it's so hard to find the origin.
I first met you, you told me a story about train jumping. I have some pictures from that. Why do people jump trains? I mean, what is the story about you guys jumping trains?
There was a man that worked for the plantation, the sugar plantation. His name is Tūtū Hamana. His number one job was to be on the train because all the kids from Laie would jump on the train to go to the movie in Kahuku. When they come into Laie, where the plantation store was, they slowed down and would be hiding in the back of the store. We knew when the train was coming because you could hear, and they would time it. We have 3 chances to jump on the train. You didn't get on the first one, you better get on the second. But we also had to look for Tūtū Hamana. We knew he was on because he would wave his hand to tell the conductor, okay, let's go. But in the meantime, there's somebody out there that's watching. Somebody would say, that's me, Tūtū Hamana's there. Everybody stay off. Nobody jumps on. But when we see this, Tūtū Hamana's not working.
Let's go! So it's like all clear.
We were making fun. Okay, he's not here. The guy is not here. Let's go.
So why does this mean Tūtū Hamana?
This is a sign that Tūtū Hamana is not there because he lost his fingers.
It all started with a thumb and a pinky. The man working on a sugar train. A happy smile and a friendly way. Hamana was his name. Hamana, the Shaka man. Hamana, the Shaka man.
When the train used to come into Laie, they come all the way down Hauula, all the way down to Kahana, because all over here was all sugar cane. So when the train is coming to Laie, all the canes are sticking out of the, we call it kakalaka, those carts. And so kids would go over there and try to pull the cane off, and he would come in his car, hey, hey, yelling his head out for. So we used to say, hey, what's up for Hamana DA,
What does DA stand for?
We just say DA, I guess district attorney or whatever,
It got like this. We were young kids, yeah? So he would drive on his truck, pass by, and he would wave to us like this. So all us kids do that. That's how he got catchy. When his fingers was gone, nobody know the answer. As kids, we should have went ask him, but we never did. Papa, you get one slap, yeah?
That's what Auntie Libby told me. She looked at me, she go, cha, the area.
That's the
So
Hawaiian.
mind your own business.
That's the Hawaiian adult. That's why we don't learn.
Yeah.
Niele means shut up.
Well, I really don't know how he lost his finger. Only my dad said he was working at the cocoa plantation. I don't know what he was doing or what.
He joined the territorial road crew out here. Light Point came all the way out to the highway, and they used that as a quarry, and I believe he had an accident with a blasting cap or a stick of dynamite.
I went over and helped him, clean his yard. He looked at me and said, you want to know what happened to my hand? And he said, when I went out to fish, I caught a big fish, and a shark came by and bit his hand and took his fish. For me, now I'm looking at it, I'm trying to say, yeah, it's a fish story. Everybody talk a fish story, right?
He gave multiple versions to people, but the ones closest to him in the community talked about how there was an accident at the sugarcane mill when they would connect the carts of the train.
Accidents involving the Lincoln pin coupler were not uncommon. I mean, this is pretty much fixed in position. I have to aim to drop it in. Not only did the brakeman have to put the Lincoln pin in, he had to do it in such a direction that his legs didn't get smashed.
I think it was commonplace for accidents to happen because they worked with their hands. And he was like, okay, I gotta continue to provide. It's that kind of mentality. But for them, it's like, no, till the day he died. Serving, serving, serving. He was known by many as Tūtū Hamana. And Tūtū is, the term for grandparent or elder. And he was definitely one of the lead elders in the community. He came from a strong, strong family of fishermen, of ali'i, of chiefs. And so within his DNA, there's hundreds of years of knowledge, of mana that he continued and he passed down to not only his children, but many in the community. People looked up to him as a chief, a modern day chief here in Hawaii.